Residents in China's southwestern megacity of Chongqing have been puzzled by this strange sight this week. These images of the Yangtze River, the longest in China, have been surfacing since Wednesday. This stretch of the river around Chongqing looks like it's been dyed blood red.
Brisbane was blanketed in thick fog for several hours this morning.
The whiteout spanned most of the state's coastline, stretching from the border as far north as the tropics. This was Brisbane at sunrise. The skyline is almost completely covered.
An Australian filmmaker has captured what's being described as a fire tornado on camera. The extremely rare phenomenon occurred in the outback near Alice Springs.
It's a twister which has sent even weather experts spinning. Flames spiralling 30 metres high, generating noise like a fighter jet.
An area of Arctic sea ice the size of Canada and Alaska combined has been lost. That's according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. An animation released by the U.S. agency shows the daily average sea ice between 1979 and 2012.
A man is claiming that he's filmed video of UFOs above his Melbourne home. He says he saw the fast-moving, colourful object flying in the sky last Tuesday night, and it was briefly joined by a second object.
And I've got to affirm that this object was not stationary, so it was no planet or star or anything like that. It behaved in no manner of an aircraft that I've ever seen here on Earth.
Now, people across the UK have reported seeing bright objects in the sky last night, thought to be a meteor shower. There were sightings in Northern Ireland, parts of central Scotland, the Midlands and East Anglia as well.
And you can see there's several there moving slowly along the sky.
Britain has been hit by its worst September storms in 30 years after weeks of rain fell in just a few hours. Floodwaters swept through towns and villages, forcing hundreds of people from their homes. The downpour turned roads into rivers, closed rail lines and left farmland underwater. Trees have been uprooted and schools shut. Rough seas whipped up foam, turning the water into whitewash that swamped a fishing village in Scotland. Dozens of flood warnings are in place.
Homes, businesses, schools and farmland underwater after the heaviest rainfall in Nigeria for 40 years. 100,000 people alone have been displaced here in Yola.
After months of drought, much of southern Spain is now underwater. Heavy rains cause scenes of devastation, with rivers bursting their banks, leading to widespread flash flooding across huge areas of Andalusia and Murcia. Spain's weather agency said that up to 245 litres, 65 gallons of water per square metre fell on Friday morning alone.
A comet is coming, a big and brilliant comet arriving in November 2013. It could potentially be 15 times brighter than the moon and visible in broad daylight over the U.S.
Right now at 4, a mystery boom in an Ocean County community. Residents say it sounds and feels like an explosion, and it's not the first time they've felt it, and authorities, they don't know what it is.
The latest mysterious booming sound happened last night in Manchester Township, which is near Toms River. Residents say it was so powerful it shook windows there in some homes. Even police are mystified.
Police are trying to get to the bottom of this, but so far they don't have any answers. Folks who live here say their houses are being rattled, and so are their nerves.
Adelaide has experienced a once-in-a-century October snowfall. Residents in the hills, mid-north and Flinders Ranges waking to a surprising white spring.
10 centimetres deep in some areas, the shock cold snap just days after unusually hot temperatures, as snow fell in Belair, Stirling and Crafers.
A frosty blast has wrapped the state in a deep freeze. Yes, it is spring. The unseasonal white has closed out major roads, stranding hundreds of shivering motorists in the snow.
A bitter blizzard in the middle of spring, just an hour out of Sydney. The snow mesmerising, but the roads were menacing. Invisible to drivers, black ice made motorists vulnerable. Authorities with no choice but to close the busy Great Western Highway in both directions. Frosty tracks also saw trains on the Blue Mountains line suspended. 2 degrees in Katoomba, -1 in Canberra and Glen Innes, with as much as 20 centimetres falling near Mittagong.
It's October, for heaven's sake. We should be swimming, not building snowmen.
Its source is a mystery, and it's causing some people sleepless nights in the capital.
Most people have rung in the middle of the night, and they describe it as a low pitched hum that basically keeps them awake.
Noise control officers dispatched by